Welcome, Célie. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us something about Mollie?
Célie Verstelle. I'm Chief Legal Compliance Officer with Mollie, based here in Amsterdam. Mollie is a payment service provider licensed in the Netherlands. What Mollie does is providing simplified, complete payment services to small, medium enterprises. We do that in the Netherlands, but also in several other European countries. And how we do that is basically driven by customer love. Our merchants, that's how we call our customers, are the main topic for us. So we really want to make sure that the customer is central. We do that by creating a level playing field. We want to make sure that small, medium enterprises can take on the bigger companies. And we do that by having a hyper-local approach. So we want to make sure that our services are a perfect fit for the market where our merchants are operating in. The biggest is obviously the payment services. So we enable our customers to process the payments that they receive via their consumers, their customers. We are looking into broader financial services that can be many things, but it can be help with cash. That can also be assistant with expense management. Can be virtual cards, bank accounts maybe at some point. So there's a whole range of products that we're not currently providing, but are looking into as potential services and products for the future.
Célie, could you also tell something about the partnerships that Mollie has?
We are looking into various partnerships, so we're always trying to improve our service and our products, also doing that via partners. If I zoom a little bit into the recent partnerships that we entered into is a couple subscriptions. You more and more see that products are being sold or via a subscription. So we have a partnership with WeCharge and ChargeBee to enable those subscription models better for our merchants.
Lately I also read one new partnership you entered into with Plate.
Yeah. That's indeed also a quite recent partnership we entered into, and that is basically open banking. So that helps Mollie and its merchants eventually with the KYC process.
Another thing is what I'm also interested in to talk about is you mentioned already the expansion to other European countries, to the UK. Could you talk a bit more about that? How does that go?
Yeah, well, indeed, Mollie is continuously working on its expansion, not only in terms of products and services, but indeed also in terms of geographies. We're currently in the Netherlands, obviously, in France, Belgium, Germany, and the UK. Just a couple of days ago, we applied for our license in the UK. How is that going? Well, every country has its own specifics. So where you would think that there's one European legislation that would enable you to enter new markets rather quickly, in practice it's a little bit more complicated than that. But because eventually all countries have their own view on that European legislation, so it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. And you can probably imagine that from a legal compliance perspective, but also from an operational perspective, for one company being active in different European countries, it can be quite cumbersome and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I can imagine in particular if you look of course at your cross-border offering and the question whether or not you need a branch in a certain other country. Also, I know from experience that the legislators in the European countries, they are not in agreement on when you need to establish a branch. Some of them say, well, it's only when you actually provide the payment services in that country, and others, including the Netherlands, will say, well, you already need a branch if you only do the sales and the marketing in a country. That, of course, does not help, in particular if you look at the branch requirements, which are not always fit for that purpose. So for you, that will take a lot of time and money, of course, to comply with all those rules. maybe moving on to the next question on level playing field in terms of talent.
Yeah, that's also an interesting topic, Marian. On talent, Célie, what is your take on the current way, the current talent pool in the Netherlands, and also how that compares to other EU countries? Do you think there's a level playing field in being able to attract talent, or is that difficult?
Yeah, well, I think it could be better, to be honest. And the main reason probably is that obviously everybody wants the best people. Mollie is not different in that. And if you look from a fintech perspective, you could say that's a bit harder because you are regulated. So there are certain rules and regulations that you need to adhere to that other tech companies based in the Netherlands don't need to adhere to. So that's a difference that we need to take into account. Another topic is probably that it's not the same for all in European countries. So we see that other countries than the Netherlands have lower requirements when it comes to variable pay, for example, for their people. So that is something that on two sides we have it a bit harder than others. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not asking for a better treatment for the same treatment as other
For
countries?
sure.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, that was very interesting. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.